Hello everyone, and yeah, it has been a long time coming, but today let's talk about battery technology. Roll the intro. That does not exist. Anyhow, so EVs or electric cars have been around the world for a pretty long time right now, and we have to say that they have become actually the trend or the norm around the world for people to actually buy electric cars, namely the Tesla Model 3 or the Tesla Model S if you're feeling fancy, and they just kept on buying and buying this sort of cars, just keep going. These purchases just keep going up and up. I mean, they've seemed to drop down right now because simply cost to create, or in this case, cost of construction, has gone a bit high up due to cobalt shortages and some other stuff that goes around, namely the government. But yes, they still seem to be bought by people simply because they are way better. You don't pay taxes for that stuff. You don't have to you don't have to pay as much for charging it or for getting it done or for getting it working again, which is way better and it saves you money over the long course of years. Yes, this is true. You'd probably have to pay a lot of money for like battery replacement, or there isn't enough mechanics out there to actually fix such cars. But get this, we still can't do this on our own. And if you were to actually take your time and learn a car itself from top to bottom, I think you would find that it's actually way easier to do it yourself than to have to find an electrician to do it for yourself. Unless, of course, you're a lazy cunt and you just don't want to do it for yourself. But oh well. I mean, not that you're lazy, but maybe some people just don't have a garage or do not have the time necessary in order to put in to just learn the car and do it yourself. You cheap bastard. Anyways, on with the video. What I wanted to say about these electric videos and electric videos, sorry. What I wanted to say about these electric vehicles and these electric cars that have gotten out, namely, as I said, the Tesla Model 3, Tesla Model S, Renault Twizy, the Renault Zoe, what else? What else? The Nissan Leaf, and some of the cars. I don't remember all of them. These are just the names that popped up into my head. And I'm actually fond of these cars, but that's not the point. The point in question is that what I've been able to find out about the battery technology, that as I expected, we are actually way behind on battery technology to actually make sense of an electric car these days. Simply because a lot of people, when they look at electric cars, they're like, what range can this actually get me to? So if I can do this route from point A to B, do I have something to charge it with? People are going to just say, no, I don't have what to charge it with. And they're going to be like, yeah, should I even charge this? Should I even use it? Should I even buy such a car? Some people actually don't even buy the Tesla Model S simply because from a base reference, it only goes 260 miles. And I understand that. Not many people like to have such a small distance on a car, simply because petrol cars actually have more distance coverage than normal EVs or electric cars in general. But there is still a catch to that. What people don't seem to understand is that even though yes, we are still back and the government is not going, at least for now, they don't seem to be supporting this sort of technology. But I think the oil shortages that I keep on seeing as news on the Google News, I think it's kind of getting to them, because in some states they even said that they want to destroy the existence of petrol-based cars or even gas ones by 2025. However, let's face it, we live in a world that petrol and gas cars, or even diesel cars for that matter, are everywhere. And to force a law that would just say, let's just say everybody's going to like, I don't know, like half the population, maybe they'll do it, but they'll just say it's not worth it. Yes, I know, it's not worth it, not right now at least. But in the next advances that we're going to see in the battery technology, let's just take the new report that I've been able to find out. I haven't done my testing. I have not done, not my testing. I have not done my homework when it comes to actually finding out more information about this. But from what I've been able to find out online about on videos of this and more, I'm going to say in-depth reports about this thing, they say that we're going to be able to see a 1.600 kilometer, not 1 million 0.600 kilometers of an electric battery. There's a very good chance I have said this. We are going to have a battery somewhere in the far future. I'm not sure if we're even going to find it, that is going to be able to go 1 million kilometers or 1 million miles. I'm not really sure exactly the naming. The point is that we're going to have a battery that is going to last us so much time, we could be dead by the time the battery's dead. So yeah. Now the point is, will we actually see in your average day Joe cars? No. Will we see this in other stuff like the autonomous driving, I don't know, something else, taxis or something like that? Yes, we might see them, but not now. This is not technology that we're going to see implemented in any of the EVs existent, and maybe not in the next 10 years, or even 20 for that matter. But we know that this is a technology that could exist. However, here's the implications. Here is the implication that the state faces when they're going to try to implement something like this. They are going to have to think of taxes or something to make us so that we will have to pay more for having an EV, which at the same time kind of is misogynistic, but the state likes to do that. The state likes to take money from people because that's what they do. However, let's just say that the state does do the right thing. The state doesn't put more taxes due to shortages and stuff like that. Let's just say that the state plays good with us and doesn't put us to pay more bullshit taxes than they already do. Then it would actually be a nice ecosystem, and everybody would actually work together to make it better. But there is still a problem. How do you get something like this to actually burst off and have the one thing that is taking your tax money and all that shit not take you any more money for a luxury that they're winning nothing out of? They're probably just going to increase the cost of electricity. That's what I guess they'll do. I'm guessing they're just going to try to increase it over time so that the increase in price is not going to feel forced. But here's what I think is going to be still a problem. We have not yet implemented enough green energy into the system of this world to actually make sense. There's still too much gases, too many bad things in the air already existing, and what there is still a problem about this is that all the stuff that we have today, even if we were to make more solar panels, even if we were to make more energy cells that are way better for redundancy and resistance over time, and they would not destroy as fast, we are still fighting the issue that the world as we know it is growing, and the need for a lot of the stuff more than just electricity is growing as we speak. Last time when I checked, we had 7 billion on this planet. We're close to 8 people. We're close to 8. We're getting there, slowly but surely. Now, here's what I think is going to happen. Unless we or the people at large do not do something, I don't know what exactly. I don't know, just try to increase the rate at which we start to do recycling or reusing. Please, recycle batteries as you should. Do not just throw them in the garbage. They're going to get destroyed. They're going to be thrown somewhere else that they're not supposed to be. They're going to release odors and other stuff into the air, and it might actually be a hazard for anybody that they would touch. Because they're lead-acid batteries. They're batteries made with some specific chemicals that could easily kill a person if they were to get into the human system. But here's what people do not understand. They think that these sort of disasters do not happen in their city, mainly because it's true. In most of the big cities, none of these disasters that we see on the internet and even on the news channels, we don't get affected by it directly, but we get affected indirectly. In the air, there's a lot of metal particles. We live with a lot of metal in the air simply because we have so many fabrications of other cars, it doesn't really matter, be it EV or other stuff. But the point that still matters at the end of this whole result is that in order for us to live a better life, we have to do a huge 360, which is kind of an impossibility to ask from an entire human race, to say that we have to stop doing all the bad stuff that we're doing, like smoking, destroying the farmland, and actually starting to create more nature. Because if we create more nature, the nature is going to save this ecosystem that we are destroying. Because here's the problem. The waters that we live in are full, if not destroyed, fillingly with a lot of pollutions. It pretty much names the goal of us just saving the oceans. We can save the oceans. The main distributor of all the oxygen that exists on this planet, if we can save the ocean, we can save most of the chances we have to live. Mainly, we can find a way to live without petrol. We can find a way to live without some of the minerals that are on the planet. Because here's the problem: people do not recycle. By recycling, we save a lot of stuff that the construction workers need to recreate. They have materials limited to them, but in order to gain access to more of this, you have to mine it. However, even miners are starting to have problems to find minerals for both construction workers, for both, I don't know, I forgot the namings. The point is, anything that we create, be it through fabs or human interaction, it is starting to dwindle. Not because we are creating too much, but because we're not recycling enough. We have to recycle all the stuff that we are losing each and every day. Let's say you have something that is too old, it's just useless to this day. Recycle it. Give it to recycle centers, or even if somebody has enough implements or enough money for this sort of stuff, create a recycle center. Do it, because it will save companies a lot of money and it will drive prices to produce the same thing or even more stuff lower, because you already have the stuff readily available to you, so you don't have to reuse, or you don't have to mine as much to create the same thing instead of just reusing the same thing. Now I know a lot of people are probably going to say that doing this is not going to change our lifestyles with much. Maybe if just one or two people in the rest are doing the same thing, yes, it's not going to change our lives with anything. But the point is, one person alone cannot create change, but one person alone can give the start to a new mission, to create a new thing in this world. And that is a world where we start to actually do what is right for both the planet we live in, for planet Earth, and for both the people that we live with. Because unless we do most of us, I'm going to say out of the 7 billion people, if only 50%, if not even more, if only 50% were to start doing this at their homes, people would see this. And at least, if you're not dumb enough, or dumber than dirt, you would still realize that it's better for you, better for the environment, better for your money, better for the life you live in. At least, if not for us, the living generation, can we just make it so that the new generation has a chance to live better than us? We are the results of the mistakes that were made in the past. Let's not make the same mistakes that the past us have done. And I'm not saying the past us as in myself, I'm just saying the past us as in the past human generation. Let's not let their mistakes shape the new future. Let's make the new future the future that we want for our kids. We want a lifestyle for our kids that is safe, good, lively for them. We want them to live longer than us. Why would we force ourselves to live in the future that is not existent? We are pretty much destroying ourselves. Obeseness has gone up like crazy, and not just that, but who am I kidding? This is not supposed to be a video out on how to live your lifestyle, stuff like that. This was a video made talking about electric cars, and I just started rambling out of context, because all of these things together can make our lives better or can contribute to a harsh lifestyle. Because nobody has questioned this before, but let's just say you try to make a lot of lemons. Okay, you try to have a lemon farm, but the lemon farm starts to go to shit. Why? Because the environment has started to go to crap. There has been more water than necessary. There's been more watering. The rain has not been normal rain. It's acid rain. It's destroying the crops. It's destroying what you have. Why did that acid rain exist? Because there is too much acidification. There is too much stuff in the air making that rain, instead of being water, be an acid rain. Now, here's another thing that I put to ask you. There are people around here that say this is an acid rain, but it's not actual acid that comes on your body and destroys you. It's acid, and it means that after the rain, there is a strong sun that burns pretty much each and everything that lives on the ground, excluding our bodies. It still hurts our skin, but it doesn't actually destroy us or kill us. But when it comes to nature, it destroys Mother Nature. and it makes it harder for us to actually do anything. The ground on which we live on still does have the necessary materials and everything that we would need in order to recreate the world from ground up. But we would have to stop using pesticides. We would have to stop using all this stuff. We understand that all this stuff is used in order to make crops easier to grow and all that jizz. But at the same time, everything that lives on this planet has its own existence. Now I know there's some insects that we should not let live and all that jazz, but we can control that thing without even using pesticides. Why do you think people have been growing all this stuff in the past and they never use pesticides? And look at us, we're forcing ourselves to use pesticides and growing compounds and all that stuff simply because we want stuff to be out faster. Now I know that everybody wants to have stuff, the freshest of meats and everything. We have to wait. Mother Nature cannot be grown faster than it already is. I don't know, all these trees that we see laying outside, we just let them be. Simply because they provide the oxygen. They provide the filters. They are the nature's filters for us. If not for all the water that we live around, and if not for all the vegetation and all the nature that we live around, we would be dead in the water, the world will be in disarray, and there is no telling how less of a population we would have in less than, I don't know, per se, 5 weeks. I'm being generous right now. Because everybody says that, oh, we do not need nature in order to live. No, you do need nature, or else the world will become the Sahara Desert. Conclusion time. EVs today have been saving us a lot of money. And it is true. We are keeping the EVs to be the best thing to buy if you want to save money on a longer scale and on a longer period of time. Now, I'm trying to say this once and for all. Are the nations going to actually say, oh my god, let's just stop production or something? No, they're not going to stop production because even they can see that they are running out. And this is actually a better alternative on using some of the resources that they have towards creating something that will let them use their stuff without having to impact the whole world. Because let's face it, most of the oil, the kerosene, all of this stuff is being used in all the stuff that NASA and the military are doing. So if only these two things were to use these things, I'm going to say more time than us, then I'm going to say there is a very good chance that they would decrease the price of oil or they would increase it simply because it's become a luxury right now. And electricity costs, depending on where we get it from, are still going to be, I'm going to say, fairly low to high or medium priced. But generally, the state cannot impose a price higher than what they have right now simply because if they were to do that, it would be pretty much loitering of their own power. I'm not really sure how that works, I'll be honest with you. There's a very good chance I'm just spouting out nonsense at this point, but what I'm trying to say is that the state cannot impose higher prices than they already have, or if they will just increase the prices, I'm gonna say, I don't know, a pence or two over every year, just to make it so that the price increase is not that dramatic. Now, I don't know, this is pretty much all that I have to say. And who knows, as I said, even if just one, like half of the capacity or a third of the capacity that has been said in that video, 300,000 miles, if we could have a battery in all of these cars of 300,000 miles, for smaller cars, let's say 150,000 miles, and for the smallest ones, let's say a Renault Twizy, I'm going to say, 10,000 miles. If we could have that luxury, that commodity in these cars are going to become the generation of the future. We are going to see exactly what Tesla and what all the companies that are producing EVs these days that they want to achieve. They want to achieve an ecosystem in which all the electric cars that they see are going to be just that and nothing more on the streets, because electric cars made sense in the past. Why would they not make sense in the future? They didn't really make sense in the past because people didn't want to move, and just even today it's kind of a hard sell to sell electric cars, but it makes more sense today because we're destroying the world. Now I'm starting to actually already speak again out of context. This just deserves a video of its own. So without further ado, click like or subscribe to this video if you liked it. Dislike if you thought it sucked. And you know what? Just if you don't like the information, so give it to somebody else. I don't care who watches this. I want everybody to be informed. That's what I want. I want everybody to be informed. I want everybody to understand that we are living in a world that is being destroyed by the own government that we are living through. If we're going to expect the government to change something, the government is never going to change anything, because they would lose a lot if they were to change something. It's based on us. Only we can change anything on this planet. If we want to change something, we can make a change. But if we are waiting for the government to do something, the government is never going to do anything, because they will lose a lot more than they would gain. And the government that loses more, way more than it gains, will never do anything. Because the government was never made to win less than it gives to its people. Although that would actually be the perfect government. A perfect government is the government that would win less and give more to its people. But the problem is, at the same time, you don't have from where to give if you don't have from where to take. So that kind of balances itself out. However, we still have to say that the government these days, most of them, nobody can tell me that none of the people at the government are corrupt. I'm going to say 20%, if not less, in these days of the government is corrupt. Because it's just that way. At least in Romania, most of the people that operate in law enforcement or other powers are not there to help the people. They're there to steal our money, and that's it. This has been Daniel. As I said, subscribe to the video, and I'm going to say thank you for watching all the way to this video, to the end of this video, because yes, I love this. This is something that, although I hate that people are not taking care, that the people are not even trying to take care of, they're still not taking care of it because they think that they're not going to make a change. The change starts with you. You are the person that will change everything. You have to make that change. But in order to make that change, it has to come from your heart. You have to want it to get it. But the problem is, people will always come back at you and tell you, no, don't do this, don't do that. No, don't listen to everybody. Everybody's going to tell you that trying to change something you yourself is not going to make people actually want to change themselves. But it's the power of example that we have to use these days. Because apparently, going to somebody and telling him, "Oh, hey, that's wrong what you're doing," it's just going to trigger the response of, "No, man, I'm doing this for already 20 years now, and everything is going fine. So why are you stopping me?" So yes, the power of example is the only way that we actually have a chance of changing what we live in. People are going to laugh at you. People are going to tell you you're an idiot, you're a nerd, you're stuff like that. No, it doesn't matter, because they don't know exactly what they're going through. They're just saying that global warming is nothing. No, global warming is real. It's real, and our state is being affected as we speak. In 2003, we actually had a winter. In 2007, we didn't have a winter. And in 2019, we're living today. It's October, and we're having an atom temperature of 23 degrees. Is that even possible? And you're saying, and people are just keep on being idiotic about it. They just keep saying, "Oh my God, global warming is not a thing." Yes, global warming is a thing. It's not something used by, for once in their lifetime, the government is actually saying something that is actually a problem. And if we are to not change anything starting today, or starting next week, or as fast as possible, we are going to become the one planet in this entire solar system that is going to be lifeless. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. It has been Daniel. This has been an honor to talk to you about this. Now, I know that the title of the video is probably going to be misleading, and that this is probably going to be huge, but I wish you to actually listen to this entire video, because it's going to change your perspective upon the entire thing.